All right, welcome everybody to yet another amazing XMD Academy live webinar where we always have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
So tonight we have a special night, and let's see, we're going to go over new material that Spicer's got cooked up. We're going to do a portfolio review. We're going to do a nice little demo. Let's see, we're going to go over some new stuff that Spicer is going to add to his course soon. So yeah, let's just jump right on into it. So and with me, I have the man who needs no introduction. We got Spicer McLeroy.
What's going on, everybody? Ooh, yeah, we got people still rolling in. Just to check, everybody can hear us. Yeah, you gotta let us know in the chat. You can hear us. Yes, no, y'all are muted. Don't hear nothing. You hear something?
Everybody here? Everybody good? All right, we got some yes. We got some good. Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm not seeing anybody's messages.
Oh, because everybody's talking to me privately for some reason.
Oh. So there's a little two thing there. You probably want to put everyone there, or just me. You don't want to talk to Mike. You want to talk to me. All right. Yeah, so make sure that your audience for your chat is to everyone. So if you have a question or I go over your portfolio and you want to have a little bit of dialogue, I can read you.
If not, then I'll just tell him what you say.
All right, right. All righty. Well, thank you everybody for being here for this webinar. My name's Spicer, your spicy sensei, if you will. And today on the webinar, we're going to kick some ass. All right, we're going to kick some ass. We're going to show you what we've been cooking up. And I need some music. I can't just sit here without any music. So one second. And then we're not going to. Are we going to get? Is it going on YouTube later? Or?
Yeah, it's going on YouTube. Don't flag me.
All right.
Yeah, put some royalty-free music on there.
All right, royalty-free. We'll do that. Okay, so. All right, so we're gonna put this. Can y'all hear that? Can you hear it?
I can hear it. I don't know if everybody else can hear it.
All right. Well, I need my introduction music. All right. Woo! Feel much better now. Feel much better. All right. So we're gonna be going over the. A lot of you have been talking about. The course is really great. It goes over anatomy in depth, but there's no project-based, tutorial in it. So I've been working on that, trying to find something that I've actually, really enjoyed, really thought was, a good first step on this. And then we'll go a little bit more complicated later. But I think this is good enough for just above beginner through intermediate type projects. So let me share my screen so we can see it. All right. So this is the one that I just released lately. There's still some things that I'm going to fix on it, but I think it's going to be able to hit on a lot of anatomy, first of all, because all this anatomy is here. It's all very descript. And started off with, the planar head that's here. So boom, boom, right here, this guy. Started off with that, and we ended up with what you see here. So it goes over IMM brushes, creating a brush, using Dynamesh, using Zbrush, using Nanomesh, using all that stuff, all this stuff, sculpting from a sphere, interpreting concept art, because this is from issue 134 of Spawn by Greg Capullo, one of my favorite comic book artists. And so we kind of tried to rip it off the page, but still have we still have to interpret a lot of things, so we'll go over that as well. But this took about 12 to 15 hours to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up hour by hour. We'll have the hour just uninterrupted with music like this in the background, and then we'll also have a more condensed version where I go over kind of like demos. So if I'm sculpting the arm, then we'll talk about the shoulder, we'll talk about the bicep or whatever, and we'll talk about what it's like in post. We'll also talk about breaking up the character. We'll talk about setting the supports. We'll talk about 3D printing, putting it together, all that stuff. So it's kind of like just from a sphere off of your 3D print here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what we've got going on. It's going to be added to the current course. So if you already have XMD, either the on-demand or you've gone through the mentorship, which is opening up in about 2 weeks. We're opening up mentorship slots in about 2 weeks. But if you have the on-demand or the mentorship, then this is automatically going to be on there. You don't have to pay anything extra. And this is kind of like what I'm going to be doing throughout the year. So I'm going to start adding a whole lot more project-based tutorials. It's going to be Spawn, it's going to be an alien, it's going to be a superhero, it's going to be a super villain, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And it'll all start off from the sphere because a lot of y'all also been wanting lots of that instead of just starting off with a base mesh. Y'all wanted to know, how do I start it from scratch? So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We do have a bunch of critiques in, but before we get started, put in the chat what's up, Frederick? Nate, oh yes. Oscar Barelas Hernandez and Nate. Awesome. All sending it to me privately. I like that. Make sure no one else sees that. Okay. But yeah, so we'll be doing this throughout the year, be adding all that stuff. So in the chat, let me know if there's any part of the body that you want a lecture on or maybe a demo on. It's all up to y'all in the chat. Put, chest, Angry Mondays, like all of it. Just give me the entire thing right now. Chest, wrists, legs, lower legs, back, upper back, lower back, serratus, all that stuff. Just let me know. All right, just let me know. Let me know. Put it down in the chat where you have the most problem, and then after we get through these, after we get through a couple portfolio reviews and some sculpture reviews, then we'll definitely we'll get to that and we'll do a lecture on that so y'all can leave with some very tangible knowledge. Daniel Letchford, how would I take a concept art into 3D? Well, that's what this is all about. Let me load up an older one so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, so we have this here. So it's from this image, right? Boom, just grabbing that image and just going through it sculpturally. Okay, so let's talk about this. All right, obviously his back is extremely twisted. All right, it's not wide enough. His rib cage is all the way over here, but it kind of needs to be through here. This knee is very broken. It's down here. It's extremely huge. There's a lot of things that don't work for this, right? In terms of like what we would do in 3D to make it not look broken. Okay, so that's kind of what I went through on this, trying to bring it a little bit more into the real, I guess you could say, but still keeping true to it. Like this is obviously the same cover, right? It's obviously the same cover and all of that. So yep, so that's kind of like what you need to do. Also, you can use transparency a lot, right? So you can go here, transparency. You can kind of and this is an older version. This is like 3 or 4, it's probably about like 6 or 7 hours back. So but this is the only one that I have this image on. But whatchamacallit, or yeah, I could probably copy it, bring it over here and paste it. Badoosh. Okay, so just bring this down here. So you can use transparency a whole lot. I do that quite often. And you can actually go up here into preferences and you can go to draw and you can really kick back that opacity, so it's barely even there. So you can kind of line things up. But again, you can line it up just so much because this is a 2D drawing that was done very, I wouldn't say quickly, but on, a time budget. He's got a certain amount of time for the cover, certain amount of time for the entire book, and then he's got to go to the next one, right? So he doesn't have the luxury of just spending as much time as they want. But yeah, so we have to kind of like interpret a lot of that as well. But long as the spirit is there, then it's still going to be accepted. Because with this with this cape, it's obviously going in different directions, but that's because in the drawing or in the cover, it's just going straight and then it's just curving back, and I think that was very visually interesting. So we kind of made it a little bit more lively, a little bit more flowy, a little bit more organic. So that's those are the type of things that you need to take into account. There are things that you can just rip straight off the page. Let me show you that. Shotgun on the screen. Scotty Young's very good with this type of stuff. This one was done in about 8 hours. I didn't record the finishing off of it, but I did record the sculpting of it. I can add this in here too. But yeah, so we've got this guy, and also there's concept art involved with this as well. So if we go transparency, we can kind of see how it's matching up, but there's still things that I have to take into account because this is going to be 3D printed, right? So these shoulders going in here may not work as much, or maybe it's not getting the correct profile whenever I'm turning it around all over the place. But using transparency, I was able to get this kind of lined up almost exact to what the concept art was. But again, this is for 3D printing, so these legs being this thin with all this weight on there, right? Because even when I hollowed this out, because I got this right here, I got them all printed out already, right? So whenever I had to hollow out this head and hollow out the body, it's still a whole lot of weight that's coming down on these two very thin legs. So again, I had to kind of inflate the legs a whole lot so that it could withstand all of that weight. So there's things that you need to do, and then there's things that you need to adjust. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, brother. Daniel, I think that's who it was. Daniel, yeah. But yeah, what were we gonna talk about? Yeah, let's get into the critiques. Who is this? I wish I'll put your name on here somewhere somehow. Because let me see.
There's another Daniel that had a question. He said, I don't know. I want to ask, how do you figure out the back parts, the thing you can't see?
Let's see. Let me hold on one second. I'll answer that question. Who is this first? This is, I think, Jeffrey. Is that who this is? Jeffrey? No, that's Soldier. Oh, it's way up here. Nope, it's not Mark. Who is it? Nate Mariska. Yeah. But what was the question again? What was the question?
So how do you figure out the back parts, the things you can't see?
Oh, that type of stuff, you kind of, that's where we become the artist. Lots of observation so that you can kind of, you know, so, say you only have the front of the character, there's, some vest or some pant work or some seam work that you need to think up, you just grab reference or you grab your own jacket and you kind of fill that information in. I try to when it's concerning the areas that there is no information for it, I kind of wait until I've got, I don't know how else to describe it, but a feeling of the sculpt, a feeling of where this character is, what's working with the character, what's not. So I'll try some things and like, this is kind of going against what this character is. and then more and more I kind of figure out, you know, the flow of it, and yeah, and just take it from there and just keep going. So whenever I go to an undescribed area, I kind of know, I have the feeling of the character, so I can kind of just let it flow.
Yeah, it
Right?
kind of comes with experience, right? Like even with environment art, the back of a building, you're like, yeah, I know what should go there, so you just kind of make it up as you go along.
Mm-hmm. Luckily for me, you know, I'm sculpting a lot of skin tight suits, a lot of, you know, superheroes like that. So whenever it comes to the back, you know, there's plenty of reference, you know, in the comic books, etc. But also, you know, I don't need the anatomy, you know, described to me. I just need to know how big or small it needs to be, and then I'll fill in all that information and make it look good. You know, because of course, the on-demand and the mentorship is anatomy heavy, so that's kind of like where we focus. Because you know, if you can't sculpt the body correctly, then, or you can't sculpt the face correctly, then it's going to be more difficult to get a job. Not impossible though. All right. So this is Nate's, I believe. Nate, if you're here. Nate.
There is a Nate here. Yes.
All right. Let's see. Here's some other questions. Do we start a character in a T pose and then pose them, or do you pose them as you sculpt? Daniel Letchford. If you're just starting out, possibly starting in T pose and then posing it and then correcting it. You know, the more advanced you are, the more you can kind of just sculpt in pose and all of that. In the course, I kind of show you how to get your proportions and your bony landmarks consistently by using a skeleton underneath. I always tell my students I did that for like 3, almost 4 years, and now I can just sculpt freely. Like I don't need the skeleton anymore. I don't need, you know, to observe proportions, or obviously I do need to observe proportions, but they're not off whenever I'm sketching because I've been correcting myself so much using a skeleton. Deborah, I'm not sure if the pipeline is the same for 3D printing, but how do you get a sculpt game ready if you choose to do so? Do you export it out and retopo by hand in another program? If I have that goal in mind, then I'll start with a game ready mesh, and then I'll just extract everything from there and just UV it. If it needs to be very game ready, then obviously I need to take my time in an external program and UV that. But generally, if you start off with, you know, in Retopo, I also do in Zbrush, just using the topology brush. For me, it's a whole lot easier, and I also get to stay in one program. Alrighty, so Nate, you have some really good. My pleasure, Deborah. Thank you for being here. You have some a lot of good things going on with this. The base is really thought out. I think maybe having maybe just one large face here that's kind of swirling about, or maybe 2, maybe 3, just to fill it up. But having so many in here is kind of got like a fire type feel, because I think these are faces. I mean, I just see faces. I know that's a human trait to kind of look for faces, but it kind of looks like it. So maybe just, you know, getting 2 or 3 and kind of starting there, I think would be a whole lot more effective, because this is not repeating so much, right? Also, getting a little bit more. I know these things are kind of going this way and that, but the more you kind of block this out in terms of what the orbit looks like, at least here for these, and I know these are all twisting and turning, and that's the point of it, but the more you can kind of lock in this natural orbit of the eye, the more this will look like what you're going for. The detail work, especially around here, you can kind of tell it's like the basic erosion plugin. So it try to mix it up a little bit more. And if this is for 3D printing, which I'm assuming because there's a base and everything, you probably want to be a little bit more heavy-handed with this, especially on the top side here. This is very, very shallow. So whenever it's 3D printing, it's going to be very, very subtle, probably almost imperceptible, depending on what printer you have and what size you're printing it at. So yeah, possibly making this piece a little smaller, just again for ease of use whenever we're 3D printing. Maybe just bringing it a little bit closer together will make people want to buy this more, because whenever you're 3D printing large bases, which is something I need to learn as well, because on the Spawn, it's a little bit too big. I'm trying to figure out a way to consolidate it a little bit more. But whenever you have something really big and all you got is a resin printer, you got to cut that thing up into a bunch of different pieces, and then you got to glue it together, and then you got to put the filament, and then you got to sand it, and then you got to, and it's just easier if it can fit on the bed all at once. It would definitely make it easier for your customers. Concerning the pose, um, it's not. It's okay. It's okay. Thing is it's very straight, right? And since this is the only point of contact here, I wouldn't mind. Let's see, right here. Let's use the pizza menu. Let's bring all this back. Let's just grab this. I would like to see it. Oops, looks like we got some. There we go. Right here. Is this moving? Maybe it's kind of hard because you kind of put yourself where his back is curving back. It's curving like this instead of coming forward. It's not really an attack pose. I would kind of maybe rework this a little bit, because it's very, very straight up and down. When maybe we could kind of straighten out this leg and he could be lunging forward, because I don't really get a sense of him swirling around this magic. It's very there's lots of flowing things, but there's just not a sense of movement because his chest is pretty much still over his hips, so there's not like a lot of sense of movement, right? So I would kind of move this off to the side, and that way you can have a little bit more of like a lunging, like coming forward, attacking type bit. If it's if he's just looking cool, then probably need to change his pose up a whole lot. Something a little bit more Christ-like, a little bit more cross-like, with both hands or something like that, or a bunch of the arms or whatever, that type of thing. But yeah, I would trying to think without having to like resculpt a lot of this, something like that, possibly straightening this arm out, and then it has a little bit more action to it because the hips are over here and the chest is leading, you know what I'm saying? And maybe not arch the chest so much, and maybe again forward.
And Nate says he's been struggling hard with the pose. He agrees it's very straight and not as dynamic as he'd like it to be.
I know what it is. Okay, so the thing is that your chest and your hips are lined up. So, and then your you have this, you have like this leg's forward, and so is this arm. This arm's forward, or this arm's back, and so is this leg. So it makes it very flat instead of coming this way and having a little bit more contrapposto to it. So I would double check that. I know you've done a lot of work and it's almost done, but I mean, you can just move on, or you can spend your time and you can kind of fix this a little bit. So yeah, first thing I would do is I would switch these legs, and then that'll give a much more, and then you can twist at the midsection, and that'll have a better sense of flow. it'll have a whole lot more contrast, and it won't be so flat whenever we're looking at this. In terms of the face, we go here. Let's see. So the bags of your eyes. I'm not sure how old you want to make him. I guess he's going to be a little old, probably. What it's like, what, mid 40s, somewhere around there, mid 40s, early 50s, somewhere around there. Just due to the wrinkles, just kind of like what I'm reading. But your orbit is really not here, so I would actually dig this back, and it should hook back, right? It should go backwards. Yours is coming forwards the entire time. You see how it's coming this way and then going forward? I would kind of kick that back. Let me get a lower subdivisional level, and I love having subdivisional levels whenever I'm sculpting. So having it go back a little bit and flow with the orbit a bit more, I think would make this sing a little bit more. So dig that in. You do have your lacrimal punctum, which is really good. Lacrimal punctum, just right here. Just kind of sending that back so it's got this feeling. So your upper tarsal plate, it should go at a diagonal into your orbit here. So this is your infraorbital furrow, and this is where all this SU fat would be here, right at the edge of your lateral inferior orbit, and then you can have a little bit more space in there. Let's see. And I'm not sure about the expression either. It's very I've just put a little bit more action in the face, especially around the lips. The lips seem very very neutral. So we'll do something with this. Your nose, let's see, I would get a little bit more of this plane change right here underneath the alar cartilage. Let's see, your nose is kind of connecting here, and it should go up into the nose right there. So it should go up into the nose for your alar cartilage. All right. I got muted for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know
what happened.
You're also missing your frontal bone here. So I'm gonna get my form soft brush, and so we need a little bit more of the frontal bone. And let me get it a little bit lower, and then have it dive down into the temporal arch here. Also, you can kind of dig around here as well, right above your temple, so you can kind of get that hit, boom, and then have it go down. So on this side, it's just a little bit too meaty, so you need to kind of dip that down, smooth out the transition, and then you can have that hit that you're looking for. Let's see, a little bit less, smooth that out. Let's check out the jawline. Jawline, I would probably put this back a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive with the angle of the jaw here, just so it's, because all these superheroes are very, stereotypical looking males and females, right? So they accentuate all those things that make features masculine or feminine. So a little bit more of the angle of the jaw and the length of the jaw would help. I'm going to work on this side. And then I would mask the orbit. Let me get a BMK. Okay, okay. And then we can go up, we can feather, and I'll probably bring this forward a little bit more so you can have a little bit more of an orbit here. So a little bit more right there. So bring it forward so we have some room to put this malar in here, which is the very corner or the front of your cheek right here. And then you can kind of hit that a little bit more, and then you'll have a whole lot more space to kind of put in all this information here. And then get your nasal labial fold, which is coming over here. You can kick that back a little bit and get your nasal labial fold. And then that'll allow you to separate your master from everything else, right? So you can kind of get that right there. But yep, that's kind of like what stood out to me around here. So you can see a whole lot more depth, and then the light's going to be able to catch that a whole lot more, right? You get it? All right. Alrighty. So next is whose is this? Whose is this?
Jeff.
Wonderful, Jeff. Wonderful.
Hey, we got a few questions if you want to answer them real quick.
Yeah, hit it up.
Let's see. Question: when it comes to ZBrush and 3D printing, how do you maintain correct measurements to millimeters? Since having precise connections is very important, I always struggle with that. Thank you. That's AYM.
Having very simple keys helps. And very, like square or rectangle peg that's been tapered down at the end, and then it can just slide in and out. Usually what I do is I have a resin printer. So I just bring everything into Chi2 box, all the pieces all together, and then I scale them up or down universally. And that way they'll always fit. And I have like a main folder where, okay, this is a size that I want it. So that's my main folder. And then I'm going to start deleting everything that I'm not going to have on the bed at that time. But then I'll always bring up that original file and delete everything else and have, the cape or, the head or whatever else I'm going to have on there. So that way they're never going to vary in size whenever I'm doing it. Anybody else?
Let's see. I tried to pose characters with armor. It was a samurai. It's quite hard for me to not get it warped. How do you go about posing things that are less organic or have some rigid parts like chest plate, etc.?
With that, let's see. I mean, there's a whole lot of give and take with that type of thing. If you have like a hard surface character, you're not really going to be masking a lot of things. You're just going to be rotating at the joints, and everything else is going to be very, very stiff. And you're going to have all these type of rotational elements. If you're going to have armor or something like that, then usually what they do is they don't really worry about clipping. If you see a lot of video games and stuff like that, there's clipping all over the place. So as long as it's not too egregious, then you should be fine. If you're talking about 3D collectibles and all that stuff, and it's a human-based character, then I would have the human-based character underneath there, and I would build the armor on top of that. In terms of it rotating and all of that, there really wasn't a lot of rotation with armor, if memory serves correct. So you're not going to have the full range of motion, and they're not going to be a contortionist in a bunch of armor. They're going to be kind of stiff, and they're kind of going to be kind of square whenever they go up against other people. So if it's a samurai, and you have all those different elements, and you have those large armor pads that are made out of bamboo and stuff like that, and there's tweed all over it, then you just want to make it easy on yourself. You want to start polygrouping things together, merging things down, so that whenever you send it over into T-pose, you can kind of have the base mesh underneath it that's kind of guiding everything else. You can mask there, and it's just a lot of
See, Deborah, every superhero needs a butt chin.
It's very true. Nice square chin.
And Daniel Letchford, another question, how to create clothes in Zbrush. I do have Marvelous, and my teacher says I should learn to do it in Zbrush or Maya before learning Marvelous.
Yeah, usually what you do is you just, you know, let's see, do I have something? Let's go here. Let me show you. Let's find an easy guy tool, and we'll get to your piece in a second. Start off with Julie. Okay, so if I want to put let's get rid of this. Okay, so if I wanted to put pants on her, I would just get this, you know, say she's got some capris on. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it stylish. Summertime. Somewhere around here. So something like that. You just mask. Make sure the mask is good all the way around. Right? You can also polygroup it. You can duplicate it. So Control Shift D, you can grab this and then you can delete everything else. Oops, wrong one. Delete hidden is what we're looking for. Delete hidden. So it has layers, so we got to commit the layers. Bake all. This one there. Bake all. Right here. Geometry. Delete higher. Delete hidden, and then now we have pants. So all we have to do is we just need to kind of like extrude it out or make it bigger, however you want to take care of it. So I'm going to extrude with my Z mesher, polygroup all, and then now she's got pants. Now we can change it to whatever color we want. We'll give it that color. Right, and then you can come in here and boom, and then you can kind of fix it up. Right, so this waist, obviously it needs to be a little bit straighter. Something like that, and boom. Just in a few seconds, she's got capri pants. So masking and extracting will take care of a lot of things for you. You just gotta know kind of when to use it. Alrighty, so giraffe. My pleasure, Daniel. My pleasure. Okay, so lots of really good filigree work. I kind of feel like this piece of armor needs like a border. So let's see, what I would do with that is I would go to stroke, I would go to curve functions, I would go by polygroups. Well, actually, we're just going to go with border. I'm just going to show this. No, let's see. We're going to go here. We're going to stroke, frame mesh. We're going to bring everything back, and then I'm going to use curve tube. C curve tube. We're going to get an appropriate size, somewhere around 6, and click that. And then I'm not sure. I think it's because it's symmetry. That's the reason. And then have a little bit more of a border on here, maybe a little bit thicker. Right there. And then commit the mesh. And then we can come in here and still make it hard surface, right? So we can come in here with our Z-Mauler brush. We can use insert edges, and we can get kind of like a flat edge here. Kind of have a little bit straighter here. A little bit straighter here. Boom, boom, something like that. And then if you really want to keep it straight, you can crease this, crease edge loop complete. Generally in production, you will need to replace this with actual geometry. But yeah, and then you've got something like a border like this, just so it's not so plain, and it has a little bit more, it feels like it's thicker without it actually being thicker, because these filigrees are kind of running too close to the edge here. So that's kind of giving me the feeling that I should have a little bit more of a border on there. You can also, add that type of feeling all over this particular piece. There's plenty of areas to kind of put that in. In terms of posing, I would kind of bring this down here. And I feel like, oops, there's still mask things. Don't y'all know to unmask everything? I'm just joking. Okay.
Daniel asked how you did the border with clay tube to the edge.
Here, I'll show you again. Why are you masking everything? Stop masking everything. Oh my God. Let's see here. Which kind of needs to be a little bit straighter. I know you're trying to get the hip tilt and that kind of feeling, but it just seems like she's kind of falling this way whenever we have it like that. Kind of want to put the head over. Well, in this case, it's going to be in the middle of these two, but I think rotating it a little bit more would give her, because she's got this heavy helmet, or heavy shield that should be weighing her down. That she's got to kind of support that. So you kind of want to keep weight in mind whenever you are whenever you're making a character like this. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that armor bit again, the trim. So here, what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing this piece, and then I'm going to stroke curve functions and telling it to frame the border. And then I'm going over to my curve tube and then getting appropriate size and just clicking it. And then clicking on the mesh to convert the geometry. And then going into my Z modeler brush with insert edge loop. And I'm just getting rid of these so I can get a little bit more of a beveled surface in here. Right there. Right here. All right. And then coming through here and then creasing this. So whenever I want those edges to kind of stay, whenever I press D, then it'll all be there. But you can see it gives it a little bit more, it feels more complete this way for me. All right. But yeah, that's what I got on this one. Is there anything else that you wanted me to look at? Did you, let's take a look at this face. Let's take a look at this face. Okay. So it's been posed a bit, so we've lost some things here, which is fine. The head seems really, really long. I'm using BMD, so I can go through the mesh. It seems a little bit too high as well. Something like that, I think, would be a little bit more appropriate. And it should be wider at the back third. So somewhere around there. You're kind of missing, according to the armor that you have here, you're kind of going a little bit more of a realistic fashion, or at least, I don't know how else to describe it, but kind of like realism mixed with stylized, possibly, maybe like really high end.
That Final Fantasy type.
Yeah, that type of thing. That's kind of like the feeling that I'm getting from this. That's kind of like the direction that you're going. Generally, a lot of people are very, very shy about digging in the orbit. I say go all in, brother. right? Right here is your roof fat. So I would look at some Instagram models, and you can kind of see this little fat pad that they always accentuate. You're missing your infraorbital furrow right here. So whenever you have infraorbital furrow here, you have adjacent symmetry here, right? And then this kind of needs to be carried over. And then you can kind of just connect the dots right there, smooth it out. A little bit more definitive on the eyelid, and your superior tarsal plate 99 times out of 100 will go over the bottom one. Well, probably 97 times out of 100. I'm sorry. Ratios, you're all wrong. But you can see that's going to give you a whole lot more depth in here, and it's going to catch the light, and it's going to cast a much more dramatic shadow in there. Lips are generally it's a 1:3 ratio, so this is kind of inverted. So the bottom lip, you know, if you think of Angelina Jolie, that type of lip, it's definitely a 1:3 on that type of thing. Even though you know, we're going for maybe a little bit more stylized feel, yet keeping a lot of anatomy in there. You want to keep those nodes of the mouth on each side. If it's a little bit too aggressive, just smooth it out. And then kind of fill this in a little bit more right here for the orbicularis oris. The nose seems a little bit wide, very small, or at least very short on the up and down. And then your nostrils need to not be circles, but a little bit more oblong. Is that the correct word? Oblong, a little bit longer. And then you want to dig this around and make sure it goes back up the nose. Your alar cartilage is a little bit too thin. I would add a little bit more here. We're just going to work on this side of the face, the left side of the face. And then smoothing that out. And this is good. Your nostrils are behind your septal cartilage, which is always good. And then always putting in your nasal labial fold. So that's going to, again, allow you to differentiate your malar from the rest of your face, which is very, very important, right? So we have this nasal labial fold going around. Obviously, you know, it's female, so we don't want it to be too descriptive. The more we render this face out, the more older or masculine she's going to look, right? And then this temple, the eyes kind of puffing out of the head. So we'd probably add a little bit more to the side here. And then you can see just that little bit of a shadow here is adding a little bit more complexity, a little bit more interest to this face. Hunter, where you been, Hunter? Where you been? We've been waiting on you, Hunter. And but yeah, this nasal labial fold here will allow you to
now we can hear you.
Hunter, where you been? We've been waiting on you. All right, so
And now we can begin the presentation.
Now we can. Now that Hunter's here. All right, so here are your zygomatics all over the place, so make it a whole lot more simpler. Here, let me go to my smooth, stronger. So if you don't know about this brush, it's under brush, obviously. It's under smooth, obviously, and then smooth, stronger. So if you're working at Dynamesh and you're sick of, you know, smoothing for days and days, use this brush. And then your master has got a dip in here. So I would be a little bit more. So if this is a malar, then we're just going to kick it back, and then we're going to fill in this. All that you see. Right there. Okay. You can see we're getting a whole lot more character out of this face by just putting in the simple you know, bony landmarks, all those, you know, the basics of the face. All right. So this we don't ever, especially on someone that we want to remain youthful, we don't want to have a lot of wobble in here, because then that's going to signify older. You can feel it right here. All you can feel is bone, right? So there's not a lot of things going over the mandible after the masseter. So we don't want to have a lot of waviness. We don't want to have a lot of wiggle wobbles anywhere. If you do want to make her look 10 years older, just add in a little bit of jowling right here. Right, so now that we put that in there, you can see it made her look older. But as soon as we take it away, it's nice and youthful, right? Nice and youthful. So just be very careful with your jaw lines. And then your zygomatic major should be going into your node of your mouth. That's kind of, well, we sculpted because it's there, but also it's a nice, nice hint on where the end of the malar should go, right? Straight to the node of the mouth. So I think all that put together, you'll be able to have a little bit more descriptive of a face, a little bit more visually interesting. And I know sculpting females is a little daunting in the beginning, but as long as you stick with the anatomy and make sure everything's there, and don't be so shy about digging in this orbit. You know, you can fill in the orbit as well, but it does need to have depth. Okay. Good job, Jeff.
One more question.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of measuring tool in ZBrush? That's from AYM, talking about the millimeters.
I think there's size right here. There's size right here. If you're talking about like a measuring tool, like a ruler, there really isn't much. You can use a transpose line. So you can press W, you can press Y, and you can get this, right? You can go to preferences. You can go to preferences. You can go to, where is it? Transpose units. And so you can say, okay, this distance is 1 millimeter. And so now whenever I stretch this out, you can see it's 1.65 millimeters. So if you want to bring in like a cube or something that is going to represent 1 millimeter, you can set your transpose unit from edge to edge or vertex to vertex on a cube and say, okay, that's 1 millimeter, and then you can measure everything else according to that. Alrighty. So let's go over some portfolio reviews, everybody. So this one is from Brandon and Betsy. The first thing I would do is put all of this on ArtStation. You don't want to just put it on your own site because it's not really in the sphere of everyone else, right? Art directors, character artists, senior character artists, all of them go to ArtStation. So you want to have all of this on ArtStation. The face is fine. It's just that you need to be, I would just follow, you know, the advice of what I just sculpted. You need a whole lot more depth around the eye. It's very, very shallow. And it just needs a little bit more depth. Your infraorbital furrow is off. It's coming from here when it should be coming from this little canthal tendon right here. So it should be coming from there. And so that's kind of throwing off the nose. These keys are amazing. If you're not doing this professionally, you should be. You should be selling STLs. You should be doing all that type of stuff with these keys because you have a great mind for it. By far, my favorite one, because I was looking at this earlier, is this TIE Fighter one. I think it's just so freaking cool how it has the depth, but it could also be a key. And then you've got the Rebel Fighter. What is it? R2D2? Is that what this thing's called? I know some Star Wars fan is like, no, it's not. It's called. but I'm gonna call this R2D2. Okay. And then you have Darth Vader over here on the right. So, but these keys are all really, really, really great.
That's
And,
Palpatine, man.
oh
God,
yeah,
get right. Yeah,
that's
come on.
Yoda. And but yeah, all these are really, really great. All this detail, literally, you should be making keys, you know, for your entire life because you do them so well.
Yeah, I might have to send him a message and get him to make me some keys because I want one for my car.
Hell yeah, man! I want some too. Like, what I would do is I would start a Twitch, and I would be making keys on there, and then I would be printing them out, and then I would be painting them all on stream, cut it, condense it, put it on YouTube, and people are going to be buying the hell out of these things, man. Especially with this type of quality, no way they're not going to be buying these. This head's really, really weird. The ear is kind of like a hole, and it's kind of like an elf ear as well, but it doesn't have any of the information there. Your temple is really, really weird. I would base this off, you know, a little bit more of human anatomy because you have so much of it here already. The eyes are amazing. Love them. This is a nice, cool creature. Just needs to be finished off. All the sketchy stuff I would take out. All the stuff I would take out of your portfolio and just go off of your keys because they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing, and you should really, really be marketing that as much as you can. If obviously it's something you enjoy doing because nothing else in your portfolio is as descriptive as these are. I mean, you've obviously put in a whole lot of time, especially on Jar Jar Binks over here on the right. But yeah, even this Mickey Mouse, all this stuff is really, really, really good. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, and we're gonna need 50% because now he's gonna make billions of dollars off of keys.
All right. Chris Miner. All righty. So cool. You got it animated. You got all the flow. It's game ready. The side of this dress is really, really not working for me. Looks like someone's pulling on it. So I would relax that a bit. She looks demented. She looks kind of tired, kind of evil, maybe disturbed, maybe possessed in some way. Okay, cool. We're on the right track. So yeah, you don't have any elbows, so you need some elbows here. The face, I would spend a little bit. Everything's there, but it just seems kind of standard. So, and the skin looks very, very shiny as well. I would check your spec map. This pose here, I'm not sure what you're saying with this pose. I'm not sure what you're saying with it. With this one, I know what you're saying. You know, obviously she loves death and she's demonic, but I would add a bit more of a transition here because this is very, very sudden, and the material, it's just very, very round. Everything's very soft. I would put some bones in here. I would have some bony landmarks so you can kind of fix that a bit more. All right. So is there anything else? Let's go one more. This one, the hand gestures are really, really off. Your leg muscles, your vastus lateralis is really taking over everything, and it's not going down far enough, and you don't have your rectus femoris or your vastus medialis or anything else here that's kind of going to break all this up. The proportions are really, really far off. I would possibly flip the proportions so that the legs, because they're way too small to hold up this entire body. Um, and I would also widen the hips as well. This is just way too thin. It just seems like two bodies put together. And then this is very straight. I would have this jutting out, jutting back, jutting forward to get a little bit more interest out of it. Okay. Joan BG. Buddha figure for 3D printing. Nice. Your clavicles are disappearing. They should be going to the edge right here. Your sternocleidomastoid. You don't really have a sternum, and you don't really have heads of your clavicle. And the only reason I'm pointing that out is because you've done these feet so well with the bony landmarks that I would assume you wanted to carry that on to everything else. The face looks very peaceful. I would still just put the nodes of the mouth on each side. But yeah, the face looks really, really peaceful. The arm looks kind of fat. I would trim this off a bit. And you have a peak going down the very side of your arm. I would be a little bit more deliberate with some deltoid muscle. And it doesn't, obviously he's not a bodybuilder. We're not going to see all that, but there are basic forms in here that are missing, such as your brachial radialis here, where it's kind of like, again, you just have this peak going down the center and then going here and then stopping. Your shoulders are too short. I would make them much longer. They should be down here. Your shoulders end halfway down your humerus. Okay. Let's see. This is looking good. The material's kind of killing it for me. It seems a little bit overlit. We have light coming from the bottom, which is a little bit more horror based, a little bit more, tension based. So I would have kind of like a spotlight coming down. And in the course, I show you how to light characters in a more like photo studio type feel. So, and one of the biggest things is that you don't need to show us everything. We don't need to see absolutely everything. You can keep things in shadow, and it actually adds a little bit more interest. Chimakaya. Something that you do over and over and over again on your pieces is that your orbit is always going up and then disappearing. Here going up, disappearing. Here going up, disappearing. Going up, disappearing. Going up, disappearing. Here going up, disappearing. Here again, again, again. I would really study the orbit and really understand what that is. In the course, I go over male anatomy, female anatomy, facial anatomy, body anatomy, all that stuff. Your cartoon work is really good. You don't really have to follow anatomy that much. So it's a little bit more forgiving. I'll probably have some motion blur on these wings so it has a sense of that's in flight because it seems like it's very still. And this leaf here is kind of creating a tangent with this that's not really working for me. So yeah, but in terms of character, it looks really, really good. Let's check out this one. Yeah, this guy is really, really funny. If you want to do simple things like this, do it all day. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it looks really great. You know how to render it out. But these flat 2D elements here, they might not be. They may be 3D, but they seem flat. It's kind of a little bit more distracting than anything else. I would take these out and let your character sing a little bit more.
That could be the entire toy line right there. Just little bearded characters.
Yep.
Just a bunch of different ones.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, because in this new age, we need to be able to create money ourselves. So make sure you know how to do that. I think this is for Esther Conceição, not for me. But yeah, these animals look good. Your environments look good. Yeah, nice and peaceful. You're creating moods, which is really good. You have a good understanding of color. This is really, really cool. This one is really, really, really beautiful. Very flowy. It has a point of focus, and then it has all these colors and shapes to kind of guide our eye and give us a sense of otherworldly. Like this makes sense in terms of its flow and its volume. It just makes sense.
Yeah,
This is
I
really
would
good.
put that on my wall. That looks
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great.
I would easily have this, like, yeah, painted on my wall. Yeah, easily. This is really good too. I would kind of fade this out a little bit more. It looks a little too kit bashy. But yeah, your command of oranges and blues and purples is really, really good. America. Yeah, that's looking good. Anyone that does not have a portfolio on ArtStation, that's always going to be my suggestion. Put it on ArtStation. Make sure you're in the realm, the sphere of everybody else. Lots of props. So these are all pretty recent. You just need to really study anatomy, and don't just study anatomy, but continue sculpting, doing all this stuff. I'm not sure what you want to be in terms of your portfolio, because you have a creature, you have a chair, you have glasses, you have food, you have a human being, you have a bunch of environments. I would kind of go in a direction, think about how you're going to sell yourself. If you came to this site, would you know what you're hiring, who you're hiring? Like, am I going to hire you to make a chair or glasses or stylized food or characters, or there's a lot of, I would put it together. Either you're an environment artist, you're a arch viz artist, you're a character artist, kind of hone in on where you want to go. Pablo Garcia, I'm already following you. Let's see. What can we look at? Let's look at this one. I think this is your latest one. Yeah, 4 days ago. Change of material. This red is not helping you at all. It's really taking away a lot of detail. The tentacles are very straight. And they're not really circling or winding around. This is like the only one that's doing that. Everything else is just kind of jutting out in a certain direction. See, jut. This one's straight. And I would kick down the specularity as well. It's very, very specular, which is again washing all this out. And her posture is very relaxed. Her facial expression is very relaxed or neutral, right? So if I'm shooting, I'm not going to put my shoulders back. I'm going to put them forward, right? And if I have a bunch of tentacles getting me, then I'm going to try to shoot while I'm trying to get this other thing off, or some other type of pose where my legs and arms aren't straight out like this, and basically making a rectangle, right? So we need to figure out some way to twist and turn her, and then also be a little bit more a little bit more organic with these tentacles that are coming out of the water. Obviously you have bubbles here and all this stuff, but the material, the specularity is killing it for me personally. And I would take out this background that's very flat as well. So yeah, let's go over one more. What do I got here? There we go. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I'm not
There's
sure.
an Oreo in there, and now I want some Oreos.
I'm not sure what your obsession with is with this material, but I would kick down the specularity big time. It's way too specular. And then add some ambient occlusion and some contrast. I'm not sure. Let's see. A commission work I designed in Zbrush based on some of the concept art Rococo style. I had masks my client 3D printed and painted. Nice. Good job. I mean, it's beautiful, but whenever you're presenting it to us, it's just just that red is killing me. It's killing me. You have really great art that you're confusing with your material selection, like this one as well. It's just very, very shiny, very red, very straight. and tentacles are all lined up. Right, we need a whole lot more dynamic compositions. All right. Bad mesh. Let's see. Collectibles. Let's look up collectibles. And again, this should be on ArtStation because you can see how long it's taking me to get all this. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to have a section called collectibles, they should all be in pose. You shouldn't have any T poses, any straight poses. If it's unfinished or it's not, being presented, I would zoom in so we don't see the end of this. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, and I can't even open up any of these images. Well, for some reason that one works. But then it's got to reload. So I'll do all that, so I would just put it on ArtStation. Poses, your chest and your hips are pretty much lined up on every single one of these. Chest, hips, chest, hips, chest, hips. So look up contrapposto. And then your wrists are way too big. Forearms. Jimmy Magoo. Jimmy Magoo is a dojo member. He participates in our speed sculpts that we have every Monday. He's been putting in work. I appreciate you being here, brother. Yeah, you're kicking ass, brother. Let's see. Let's go back. I think we've seen more examples of your work. I mean, obviously, where you work. You didn't get in there through nepotism. So, but this one's just got a whole lot of negative space. Right, I can barely see it. We can chop off this much, or at least fill in the background with something else besides gray. You see how your gray is kind of matching your sculpt, so it's ending up very flat and doesn't have a lot of depth. So either choose a background that is lighter or darker than everything else you have in your sculpt. Nice pose. This is from the comic cover. I'm assuming Jim Lee's comic cover with a little with a few influences. I'm not sure what this is down here. I'll spend a little bit more time on that. Let's see. Yeah, this thing, the gargoyle, I would spend a whole lot more time, at least on the profile. Your orbit is just ending, and then it's here. So it's coming out in a V when it should become coming around and around and around. Your fill trim should go around your septal cartilage on each side. It shouldn't come from your septal cartilage. Yeah, but the pose is pretty good. All that work looks really, really good.
Hey, we got a quick question. It's from Alex. Hi, I'm a 2D graphic designer. I want to change my profile. Which school of study would you recommend for studying Zbrush? Of course, I myself can already do something, but I really need a mentor. Thank you. And maybe you know some good schools in Russia or Ukraine.
Let's see. Well, we offer mentorships here for drawing and sculpting. So if you want either of those, we can definitely help you out. I'm not sure of any schools in Russia and Ukraine just because I'm not very familiar with those areas. In terms of mentors, there's Simon Lee. He's about to stop his mentorship just because it takes up so much time. So if he can get in, I would get in there. And then again, we have it here at XMD as well. Moochie Smops. First off, I love that name. I don't know why, but I love saying, say it, Mike.
Moochie Smops?
See, doesn't that feel good to say?
Moochie Smops.
Moochie Smops. Moochie Smops.
Or is it I Moochie Smops I?
Or, ooh, interesting question. Alrighty, so a lot of good work here. This has got a whole lot of feeling in it. Too much specularity on there, but it does have a really nice feeling. I would probably not give us so many views of this, because this one's good enough. Um, and again, you know, if you're going to do a prop or something like this, and put a character next to it, just because it's obvious that you're going to be a character artist, because that's all you have. It's, you know, like 90% of what you got. So just having a character either stylized or not, just leaning on something like this would kind of bring everything together. I would take away your first model. I would take away all of these things that are not character animal based, because it's kind of like you don't want to get hired to do something you don't like to do. Like I have a student that we just finished recently. Uh, he wants to be a character artist, but all they have him doing is sculpting rocks. Okay,
You
so
never want to be the rock guy or the tree guy
yeah, so
unless you really fucking love rocks and trees.
yeah. So just be careful, right? Just be careful. So let's talk about two of these that I really like, at least from the thumbnail. This one just looks really weird, and I like it because everything else is there. You have really nice. You're deciding right or wrong where these edges are, and you're being confident about it. Continue doing that, because that's a lot of people are very subtle with everything, and it just makes their work look boring and wrong. But you know, these hard lines that you're really deciding to do make it interesting, even though it doesn't really flow the way it should. Um, this one's got a nice feeling to it. I would dip him down a little bit more, bring his ass closer to the ground, because it looks like he's sitting on a box that's not there. Right, so the posture is off, and these stitches that he has on the back, I would embed them in the cape a little bit more. Let's look at this one. Yeah, this one's good. Yeah, you fixed pants, which is good. You're definitely on your way. You're obviously getting better. I would just continue doing things that interest you, um, and just continue sculpting it, and just watch your specularities. Very good. These are really good. These are some of the best that we've had so far. It's on Behance. It should be on ArtStation. Lots of logos, which look really good. You know, I'm more of an anatomy artist, so I don't know what I can help you with here. I would definitely section this out. So we have promo work, we have logos, and then we have 3D art, and then we have your own personal work, you know, and then we have 3D printing, that type of thing. Because going through here, it's just a mishmash of a bunch of different stuff, and as varied as it is, and obviously, you know, you can render in a bunch of different things, and you know all this stuff. A little bit more organization would seem a little bit less, a little bit more organization would allow people to kind of like, okay, well, I need logo work. Let's take a look at his logos. Oh, I need this. Let's go there. You know, a little bit more user experience orientation on how you're putting all that together. Artham Chuk. I like your profile here. Profile picture. Dwarf, see how old this is. Maybe 6 months ago. Let's go with this one. Looking good. The hands are too thin and too small. There's really no description here in the pectoralis. Should have some indication in the breast and the pectoralis here. The hair is kind of flat. You see how it's even, pretty much straight across. I would add a little bit more of an angle, or a little bit more what should we call it? Variance to the ends of these, so it doesn't look like one solid shape, especially around here. This is the one that's bothering me the most. Let's see. Let's take a look at this cat. Very cool. Yep. Yeah, I like this one better. Oh, this is your 3D interpretation of that. Yeah, it's because of the tail and the texture work. But yeah, the feet, the toes are much longer. Yours are just like circles. So we'll fix that. But yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Sai Aravindan Vinkanta Subramanian. I totally nailed that.
That sounds
Totally
about
nailed
right.
that one.
I think
I
you
got that
got
one
it.
so right.
You're great with names.
I'm the best with names. I know I got that right. Everybody knows I got that right, right? Everybody knows that, right? All right. Thanks for joining the dojo, Sai. I appreciate you. I know you posted that in here. More depth around the eyes. Your neck is looking pretty good. The shoulders seem a little bit too narrow for me. I would kind of widen those out. And then you're indicating that she has abs, but it's a little bit too the belly buttons are really, really large. And this line down here is more like she has a little bit of a paunch than abs. So you kind of need to go around these abs, around the obliques, be a little bit more descript. And then the front of these pants is just really, really bad. It's just not conforming to it. Her badunkadunk doesn't really have a lot of shape to it. It's kind of flat. And then her leg is kind of broken, is kind of going out that way. But yeah. And the hair, you need to add some extra strands in here because it's a little bit too solid. I know it's a lot, it may seem like a lot of work, but the more you do it, the easier it will be. So I would just mask extract and take that off. Dragon sword. Where's the end of the sword? The guard is more longer than the sword.
Actually, just a blunt weapon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would take this one out. I would take that out. I would take this out. I would take your sculpt timbers out, and unless you want to be making bags, if you want that to be your career, then would take that out. Lilip. Alrighty, some nice. So if I do sculpt something without someone's permission, can I put it up on ArtStation? Yeah, I do that all the time. I do it all the time. I'm not making any money off of it. I'm not making money off of someone else's work. So I'm just, using it to add to my portfolio. I link them and let them know that I did it. And 9 times out of 10, they really like it and share it on their own. So, it's going to help you out. But you don't need express permission to sculpt every single concept that there is. This Lilib, your orbit is really getting confusing around here because it looks like you have your furrowed brow, but then it's going into your roof fat. And again, there's not a lot of depth here. There's no nasal labial fold. Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the flyaway hairs on the last one side. That's kind of what I would do. But everything else is looking really good, nice and clean. You obviously know how to make those. She looks very cute. She looks very at peace. Watch this, the dipping down of the clavicles, because it really doesn't ever do that. And your neck's too thick at the base. Your traps need a whole lot of work. But yeah, you can learn all that in my class. Not sure what this is. I'm not sure what this is. I guess I'll go here to showcase. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Sebastian B. Got Skeletor in here. You're already on my good side. Captain Morgan. This is really good. What's this? Let's see. Character developed as a part of a challenge. It's looking good, man. Oh, it's a little serpent dude. I didn't see that. I just saw you standing out. But yeah, this needs a whole lot of work. It's just suddenly losing volume here. And this doesn't look like a snake. It looks like something else. Let's see. This has got a good feeling to it, but your abs are too wide. The face is okay. It's okay. Overall, it's a good looking character overall. And when almost 2 years in, you're doing good. You're doing really good actually with this one. This one's good. You just need frontal bone and then temporal arch. That's where you're missing all of this information. But yeah, if this is almost 2 years in, you're doing really good. You're doing really good. Sergey Fishman Warrior. This looks badass. I likes it. Is this off someone else's concept? Yeah. All right. Lighting's good. Feet. Spend more time on the feet. More time on the feet. Yeah, just more time on the feet. Upper body looks great. All the arms look good, but these feet look like afterthoughts. Your wrist anatomy is all over the place. You should have your brachioradialis, your common extensor tendons, your mini-me, all that good stuff in here, but it's just kind of nondescript. So it'd be a little bit, I would study that a bit more. This has got a really, really nice impression. As soon as we see it, looks really good. The only thing I would talk about is the anatomy. That's about it, but its overall impression is really good. Maybe a little bit longer on the arms, maybe just a little bit, because in comparison to everything else, I know it's stylized anime, but yeah. But if this is where you are right now and this is where you want to go, you should continue doing this because you're really, really good at it. No, I don't want $100 gift card. Oscar, but I listen to this.
Hey, do you want $100 gift card?
Alrighty, so this is looking good. Your material's killing it on this. It's way too bright. On here, it's just kind of blowing everything out. All this information is getting blown out. So I would go over it again with a different lighting setup. But yeah, this is looking good. This is a good piece, man. Especially for, yeah, you might have too many lights. If these are all your lights, this is too many lights. But all this looks really, really good. Very well put together. You just need to fix your lighting. Yeah, this looks good. I think we talked about this last time. Yeah, it turned out really well. Materials have definitely improved. Oh yeah, this is the one that we were talking about. Yeah, good job. You're definitely improving, brother. You're definitely improving. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. You're on your way. Hopefully I get you in the class and we'll definitely level you up. Let's see, how do you do it? Again, organization in terms of, I want video jockey graphics, MoGraph, I guess is what it's called, your assets, your anatomy sculpts, these type of things. I would start working on full characters instead of pieces. You'll have a whole lot more fun. This type of stuff, it all needs to be organized a little bit more. Hussein, a whole lot more information on the face. It's kind of drooping in and then coming out. And that's really the sore spot of this. The hair looks very, very thin and frazzled. A little bit more work on that. Let's take a look at your latest sculpts. Definitely put some eyes in here. Like whenever you're presenting these things, make sure you have eyebrows, make sure you have eyes, just those basic stuff. Because whenever someone looks at this, and you can see that little peak right here of your Dynamesh, it's just not going to look complete, right? And then your temporal arch is very, very pronounced. So I would kick that back and not have it go so far forward. We go here, here, and then it should be going around. It's just very, very hard, and then it disappears. So be very careful about that. And beep, 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 beep. Jess. And coming from parts unknown. Lots of what props and stuff. I think this is more Mike's area than mine. But what's really killing a lot of your work is lighting. Having a much more dramatic lighting will make anything look better. So I would look up lighting, how to light products. Bernardo Mondragon Ramirez. Too flat on top. Face is okay, but I think that it's a little bit too thin. From the chin going to the jaws, I feel like it's really, really too thin. She's got a nice relaxed pose, very Witcher inspired. Feet are fine. Hands are too small and too thin. But yeah, definitely on your way. Definitely on your way. Let's take a look at Batman. Okay, lighting is appropriate. But again, you have a problem with making very, very thin mandible lines. So make sure they look like horseshoes as opposed to slices of pizza. AYCG. Let's take a look. This is cast and bust. FDM printer. Nice. Yeah, turned out great. Looks good. Things that may not be the best in 3D usually look pretty good whenever they're printed out because it's being lit correctly. The material's what it should be. It's reacting to the light the way it should. So a lot of y'all's work just needs to have better lighting. And then again, this is more Mike's area than mine. Benjamin Messer jewelry. All right. Yeah, it's looking good. Oh, you big a puppy ring. Oh, that's cool. Nice.
You got a soft spot for the pups.
Always. Yeah, these are looking good, man.
I really like that elephant.
Yeah, the elephant was really good. Yeah, these are all good, man. You know how to use a program. Definitely. Let's take a look at this one. And I would start with the image first instead of the video. Just, you want to have the video be like something that they choose to view after all the images. And again, lighting. I'm telling you, y'all really, really need to learn lighting because this would look so much better with some nice product lighting, as opposed to having all this stuff blown out. But your jewelry work is really good. Moonstone pendants looking really, really elegant. Good job. John Solomos. Let's take a look at your latest one, real-time character. Forehead's a little bit too short. The hair's kind of nerdy. Looks like a no, just cloth. The leather work looks really good. Just looks brand new. Maybe some wear and tear on it would be good. The face is okay. I think there could be a whole lot more character in it, and the chin might be a little bit too wide. And for orbital furrow, maybe in the wrong place. You don't really have a temporal arch, and you don't have a forehead. It's kind of just all around here. Vijay Rautila. I got that right. Let's take a look at your Jeffrey. Too thin, too much of a angle here. Should be more straight across. So it feels like his shoulders are a little bit too low. Don't have a forehead, don't have a temporal arch, but it does look like the character, you know. Neck is too long. And then Joaquin Phoenix has a very weird scapula. The legs look like the knees are buckled in, but the knees are pointing outward, so it looks broken. And you don't have any ankles here. Which does influence everything else. I know that there's clothes and shoes on, but it does influence it greatly. It's those small little things that make certain ones look really good and other ones look okay. Let's look at your Satanistic Sculpt, Vijay. Head's too long. Your skull should end right across from your nose, so it should be boom. Possibly a longer neck, wider shoulders, and a little bit more of a base here for these huge horns. Possibly a thicker neck so he can carry around those horns, so he can turn his neck and all that stuff. So these are the type of things you want to think about whenever you're sculpting, you know, just like that, putting yourself in character. Drawing's looking good. Hamida?
A quick question. I know you still got several to go through. We're at about an hour and 37 minutes in. Do you want to go marathon on this? How's everybody feeling out there?
Yeah. Do y'all want me to keep going or what?
You want to keep going? Anybody want to see any demos? You want to see more portfolio reviews? Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
All good here. All right.
We'll go all night. This is an 8-hour session here.
So we'll go until Whataburger gets here, and then everyone stop. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's saying go, go, go. All right. So Oscar Morales Hernandez. Spicer, do you still use Substance Painter to paint your sculpture, or just use the poly paint and export direct to Blender? Thanks, Michael, in advance. Such a polite person. Such a good young man. I do not use Substance Painter that much anymore. Sometimes I even wonder why I even have the subscription still, because in the end, none of that's going to be printed. Maybe if I need some edge wear and tear, I'll probably use it. But you know, unless I'm printing in 1/4 to 1/2, I don't really need Substance Painter because those details aren't going to show up. So, and then, you know, the color doesn't really even need to be there because anyone that's going to buy this STL is going to paint it up their own. So I just kind of, I don't want to give them every single bit of information because it's not going to leave a lot of room for them to paint it the way that they want to paint it. So a lot of people that buy my work are painters and model kit makers. So they don't really care about, you know, the color because that's their department. They're just excited about the sculpture itself. So Hamida, get this. What is this? What is this right here on the top? Jeez. But yeah, I do go to Blender and render there. And I'm going to make a video on that as well, including the spawn, to kind of show people how to go to Blender from Zbrush. You will need an add-on, and I'll put that in the course as well. This is one of my favorite characters from Final Fantasy, and you did a good job. But any of these, pose them. And that's really the only bit of 3D art, so that's the only one I'm going to go over. Ellie Garperian. I totally nailed that. It kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones. Your cheeks are coming too far forward. You need your nasal labial fold and your nasalis to kind of cut that off. You do it again here. You see how it's coming forward? It should be going around. You need the nodes of your mouth. You need your forehead going down into your temporal arch. A little bit more of your zygomatic. A little bit less on the top as it's going into your temporal arch. Okay, Danny B, need to have all this on ArtStation because I don't see anything. I see a black screen here. Oh, okay. Whoa. And it's very loud and it has to load and it has to do all these things. So yeah, and I gotta have my cursor over it. Right. So yeah, just put all this on ArtStation. Lots of props, some more anatomy, but these look nice and clean. All these should be textured and put into some type of environment, because on their own doesn't really tell a story. And whether we're doing environments or we're doing characters, we need to tell a story. This one, everything's too bright. Doesn't have any atmosphere in terms of, you know, like floaties or all that stuff. Maybe some mountain ranges in the background. Maybe either a little bit more hesitation or a little bit more sense of urgency for it to get there. There's 3 heads over here. I'm assuming they're the guardians of that. So, you know, you are describing stuff enough to where we can infer what this is about. So you're on the right track. But yeah, I would maybe have a few shots, you know, one here or one there, and then one close up being either absorbed or using magic to open the gate. Eric Zink. Lots of props, no characters. Let's take a look at your gun. Nice quick loading sight. Again, lighting. We don't need to see everything. Right? A rim light, a fill light. Mike would know more about lighting environments than me, but this is just way too bright, way too there's no mystery involved.
Yeah, you just need some contrast, darks and lights.
Let's take a look at this one. Naruto. So you're going for those big, huge sculptures. Lighting. Again, lighting. This is very weird right here. The frog needs a whole lot more surface detail. There's a couple lumps here and there, but there's really no frog skin. You can probably find that on Substance Painter really, really quickly. And then it's just overlit. There's no directional light, right? It's just an HDRI that you plugged in here and then left it. So I would a little bit more light.
And Spicer does go over lighting in his course.
Yep, I sure do.
It's got a nice little.
Oh yeah. Carolina Scheiber. So this is looking good. Lighting's looking good. This is what I'm talking about in terms of lighting. This is a good example. You know, we don't see everything. It's not overlit. There's a whole lot of contrast. The light is guiding our eye, right? She wants you to look at the face, so that's where the light is. A little bit too much specularity, but that's about it. But that is a good use of light. Vladimir Machlevich. Lots of props. This is a good direction in terms of lighting, but still needs a whole lot of work in terms of that. Not sure what the squiggle is. Not sure what these are here. If you're trying to tell a story, the best thing to do is observation. Finding a hammer from someone who's used it for years and years and years, and then taking that information and putting it on here. The difference in texture here, you have super clean, doesn't really feel like metal, and then this feels like plastic, like bumpy plastic, and it's very, very thick, and very obviously digital. There's no imperfections anywhere. Let's see, Daniel. Alrighty, Daniel, you are the prime candidate for my class. Prime candidate. Whole lots of stuff that we can fix on your character. There's no esophagus here. You can see his neck goes all the way behind his ear and then comes forward, right? Should come down this way. Your neck isn't following the spine unless your spine's doing that, right? Your spine should be just curving into the 7th vertebra. This is a little bit too high. Your nose has breaks in the wrong places. Let's see. I know you're going for a stylized feel, but if we can bring in some anatomy with that. So like on my Zbrush piece, let's see, where is this guy? Where is it? This guy. So even though this is stylized, let me turn this off. There's still a lot of anatomy in here. There's still the temporal arch, the zygomatic, the mental eminence, furrowing of the brow, the orbits, the nasolabial fold, the 9 and the Y. You know, there's a lot of anatomy information in here to kind of fill all that in, right? And so even though we're doing stylized, we can still use anatomy to our benefit. But yeah, you just need to know the skull. I can tell that you haven't done a lot of skull studies. So everything that's underneath it is off, and you keep doing this with your neck over and over again. Um, it's just, I bet you it's on this guy too. Yep, it's on this guy too. Right. So you need a little bit more of the esophagus going down because yours is going all the way back to the spine and then coming back. So, or coming forward. And Among Us, can't go wrong with that. But it's a little bit too straight, a little bit too straight, a little bit too long, a little bit shorter for the body, I think would help. Mark Martin. Oh, it's a demo reel. Why isn't it playing? See, this is the reason it needs to be on ArtStation.
And not on Vimeo. Vimeo sucks. I hate Vimeo.
Ooh.
Hate it. It's so slow.
Alrighty. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Yeah, this is kind of cool. A lot of negative space over here. Maybe a little bit. Maybe raise this cloud. Maybe somewhere around here. But then it might be competing. It's just a lot of negative space here. I would like a little bit more attention brought directly to this area as opposed to everything around it. Although it is giving it a sense of atmosphere, maybe a little bit more, not so crisp on the edge, maybe a little bit more faded. Venom. Is this a drawing? Yeah. Okay. Sculpture or drawing? Yeah, sculpture. Okay. Way too white. Way too white. If you're going for a graphical element, it should be carried through the entire thing. So he should just be solid red. That should be solid white, and then yellow. Your muscles are there, but right here is very, very wrong. And your clavicles going here, then beginning again here. Should be continuous, and your shoulder shouldn't go above it. Okay, Matthew Mason Foster. What's with the slash here? Are you two people? This is looking good. Looking good. I like how you focused on the face. And you see, everybody, we don't need to see all the information. We don't need to. He's got one light. Make it a little bit more of a spotlight and have it focus a little bit more there, but that's pretty good. The pose, whatever you're posing, make sure that the same side, leg, and arm are not going out, because then that forces you to have a very flat result. Okay. So what I mean by that is, if this leg is forward, then this arm should be out. You always want to have opposing, right? Oblique angles. Let's take a look at her. My dog's ready to go. Ready to go. Let's go. A cool concept. Maybe a little bit too short on the legs, but I like long legs. So, let's look at her. Tech Fairy. I like the name already. Too thick on the chest. Way too thick. Whenever you, like, if you go to Instagram and you look up a female that's kind of in the same body style as this, the rib cage is not that thick at all. So I would cut this down by half because it seems like she's got 2 rib cages in here. The posture is a little off. It looks like she's going to fall forward. So I would bring the chest back, bring the hips forward. The legs look a little bit short. There's really not a lot of information on these feet. They look like chicken feet because the tibia is going straight up and down. It should be curved going into the medial malleolus, and your gastrocnemius should be coming from behind your knee, not on the side of your leg. But yeah, Shane O'Shea. Yeah, he's looking really good, brother. These renders are really, really, really good. Not overlit. We aren't breaking any pixels. Everything's looking really, really fantastic. But again, this is more Mike's area than my area. I would assume Mike is thoroughly satisfied with these as well.
I think they're beautiful.
Yep. Ruslan Morozov.
Nailed it.
Totally nailed it. Lots of props. Not a lot of characters for me to really talk about. This one looks really good. Something a little bit fake, maybe a spec map, so it's not just all around. But these look like really delicious apples. Maybe a little bit too fake because of the specularity is a little bit too sharp. Would kick down the specularity on that. This is nice product lighting. The shadow is a little bit too strong. This is much better, bigger radius, so it's a little bit more faded. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, gotta have them pipe wrenches. See, this is the type of story that we're looking for. This is really, really good. Maybe a little bit too much edge work in Substance Painter, but yeah, maybe just a little bit too much. Because I rarely, ever since I started using Substance Painter and the little edgeware, I started noticing edgeware more and more, and I noticed that it's not uniform all the way around. That it's in very specific areas. So, but yours is pretty much on every single edge. So be careful with that. And with that, we are done. Woo! We went through all those, man. We went through 41 portfolios.
Yeah, that's insane.
41 Who else? Who else does that, chat?
That's definitely a record.
Chat, who else does that? Nobody. All right. No one at a webinar would have done what I just did. Okay. None. Unless they have like a 4-hour stream. But I went through it. All right. 40 plus portfolios. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So and the thing I always have open, color wheel from Adobe, color.adobe.com. That way you can have all these and you'll never be lost with what color you should be using. So you want to put the purple over there? Boom. Right there. Little color.adobe.com. If you're a painter or anything like that, it's invaluable. So we will be putting this guy up there as well. It's going to be more of a time lapse. Troy! Where have you been, Troy? We're going to put this up there as well as a time lapse. And then this one will be more project based. So I'm going to go an hour. I'm going to cut an hour and then I'm going to time lapse it. We're going to go through it really quickly. And then we're going to go through everything that I did in terms of, step by step. And then we'll have the long form version that'll have music, something like what we have here in the background as it's just going in real time. So if you want to follow along, you can always do that as well. But yeah, we are opening up mentorships. It is opening up in a couple weeks. I'm sure Mike's got some amazing coupon for y'all. Yeah, you can sign up now, get the early bird. And if you are a first responder or former military, you got to let us know because we got special discounts for you.
Yeah, we are now open for registration for Spicer's course. XMDacademy.com. You can get in. How much you want to give them today for showing up?
Let's give them 40.
Don't be cheap. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. 40's good. I was actually going to say like 30, but I mean, you're trying to give away all of our money here, so.
Might as well, you know. You got more than enough, you know.
You can never have too much money.
That's true.
When your money starts having money, then, you know, start having money babies.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Mike PC, do I need to do anything in preparation for the course? It's Sumerian King. Nice. Have a piece kind of halfway done.
Yeah, and it always helps. Like tell everybody every time, if you sign up early, you get instant access to the entire course. So you can start it now. And then by the time you get to the actual mentorship part, you're already leveled up. And you can just level up more. Yep. And you have Spicer's time every week to go over whatever you want.
Yeah, we got over 100 videos in 100 hours. So there's a lot of stuff we need to catch up on.
Yeah, that's a lot to go over.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Is there any questions from the chat? Anybody have any questions we can answer? Settle down, Dawn. That we can answer in the next 6 to 10 minutes. Because my food's going to be here.
Yeah, let's see. Nope. Sorry, making a coupon. It wasn't cooperating. So, if y'all want 40% off Spicer's course, you're going to use coupon code SPICYNUTS40.
Ooh.
SPICYNUTS40. Give you 40% off. Join today and you can get started now. Yep. Like right now. Wait, didn't you have something you wanted to show real quick? Do you have it?
What I want to show?
Something about a material.
About a material?
Yeah.
You're talking about spawn? I already talked about that.
I thought you had like a material, a new one.
A new material?
Maybe I'm smoking crack. I don't know.
All right, everybody, chat. Mike's smoking crack again. You better start buying these courses so he stops smoking so much crack.
No, so I can smoke more crack. What do you think? Spend money on?
I appreciate that. No, Eric says that's offensive. Spicy.
Well, that's because Eric works with me. So
okay. Well, there we go.
He smokes more crack than I do. Yeah. Anybody got any questions before we wrap it up? Who's going to be the first one to sign up?
I got the on-demand course. You offer the mentorship as standalone in case I'm interested in doing it after I'm done with the course. Yeah, you just need to let us know. I mean, we'll have your information, but you just reach out to us. Either
you can always upgrade.
Yeah, and you can always upgrade, and it's not going to be the same price as the full mentorship.
Yeah, you'll still get your percentage off.
Yeah.
And actually, thanks for reminding me. I am adding that coupon to the on-demand as well. So if you want to get the on-demand, you can get it for 40% off too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can get the on-demand for 40% off, or you can get the mentorship 40% off. And mentorship's where it's at, people. Mentorship is where the high-end mentorship.
Yeah, it is definitely worth it. And 40% off. We've also got 3 payments. You can do monthly payments. So it is definitely affordable. And the amount of information that you get from Spicer in this course is more than you're going to get in any other mentorship. And I mean, shit, it's easily worth thousands, if not millions. So,
Yeah. And what's up,
or
Troy? Thanks for
maybe
being
even
here.
billions.
Yep,
Depends on how good you are.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Troy. I appreciate you. But yeah. In the course, we start off with an interview. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assess where you are, because there's not straight homework for everybody. There is for the on-demand, but in terms of the mentorship, it's very, very personalized. So, if any of the portfolios I went over were all there's a variance of talent and skill and confidence, and we're going to go from where you are and we're going to level you up. And you'll have work that's homework or weekly work that is specific to where you are as an artist at the moment. And there's been plenty of breakthroughs in terms of the way people think about art, the way they think about themselves making art, the way that they practice, the way that they go forward towards their goal. Story after story about people changing their outlook on this whole character art, collectible, anatomy realm. And even just that, plenty have said, oh, that was worth the money right there. So
The registration's open now. It starts in 11 days, 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 38 seconds. 36 seconds.
Yeah,
35,
there you go, Oscar.
34.
Troy Hubbard, thanks, bro. Good seeing you progress as a passionate artist. You're always an inspiration to me. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, food's almost here.
Yeah, your food takes forever. Mine's like 20 minutes.
Oh, I ordered it 2 hours ago.
What the hell? Where'd you order it from?
Well, I told him to deliver it at this time.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody, I appreciate you being here. You can always reach out to me on the Discord. We have the ZB Ho Dojo. You can join now. This is a link that will be available for just 24 hours. But you can join. We have weekly sculpt offs every Monday with a different theme. And yeah, great community. All ass kickers. So make sure to join. Make sure to be a part of it. And yeah, I appreciate everybody that registered and came in, said hi. Former students, friends, colleagues. I appreciate you. And if you ever need anything, just reach out to us. Let us know. Dinky Man, relative beginner to anatomy and 3D modeling and Zbrush. How comprehensive is the on-demand character creation for collectibles? Is it possible to start off with an on-demand and upgrade to a mentorship if I feel it's for me? Yeah, if you know how to use a program, then the course is going to teach you anatomy mainly, right? Then we go through Zbrush, then we go through some Substance Painter really quickly. We spend a lot of time in Zbrush, a lot of time in Keyshot, and then Blender will be added with the Spawn coming up here starting February. I'm going to start uploading those videos. So yeah,
you can always upgrade. Just let us know if you get the on demand. You can always upgrade just for the difference in price. We'll give you a nice discount. Everything you get in the on demand is the same videos that you get in the mentorship. Mentorship is adding Spicer. You get his time for what do you are you doing an hour a week now?
Yeah. So we interview you first, and then we have 6 weeks one-on-one. There's no one else in the class, just you and me. And we sit for an hour. We can talk theory. We can talk anatomy. Usually what happens every week is that you send me your sculpt via ZTL, via email. And then I show you where you can start improving, or if you have a tendency to do certain things that are going against your goals sculpturally, then we go over that as well and make sure that you understand, what's going on, what's going wrong, how to fix it, and what you can start doing to become a more skilled, efficient artist. Yes, that's how I feel. I don't want to waste Spicer's time when I still need to learn the basics. I'd be like overpaying for something that anyone could tell me. Oh yeah. If you aren't familiar with the program or anything like that, then definitely at least get familiar with that. But there's plenty of things that even after you get familiar with it, there's still these little nooks and crannies and all that type of stuff that that people don't know about, that I let them know about, like the frame mesh, how to create brushes really quickly, all that type of stuff, which doesn't take up a lot of time at all. So, but if you're just just starting out, then this one, well, at least the spawn one will be more geared towards not straight beginner, but I know how to mask, I know how to unmask, I know how to sculpt, I know how to use alt, I know, the main brushes. Then I can take you from there. Mm-hmm.
I think your food's there.
My food's here. But yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much for coming. And we do this every time we run a new course. But yeah, you definitely got to sign up for this course. It is worth every penny and much more.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to learn a lot. You're going to level up and you're going to become a badass like Spicer in 10 years.
Eventually. Yeah, eventually. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here. Hopefully I see you in the mentorship. Those are always fun. F yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Eric.